UFC President Dana White said he's still helping out hope for the return of Khabib Nurmagomedov, saying there's still a chance he comes back. Nurmagomedov said he wanted to hang up his gloves following his submission win over Justin Gaethje at UFC 254, but White told him to take some time and think about it. It's been several months now, but we still don't have a firm answer on what's next for Nurmagomedov. He's still technically the UFC lightweight champion, but he doesn't have a fight booked, and there doesn't seem to be one on the horizon. And yet, White still holds out hope for a return. Speaking to the media at the UFC 259 pre-fight press conference, White confirmed that Nurmagomedov is still the champion, and he believes the Eagle is surveying the land before he makes his final decision on retirement.
That he planned meet with you here. What the situation with lightweight title now? How long he'll holder of the title? Do you have any plan about it?
Yeah, we're gonna have dinner on Saturday or Sunday, and then just talk and see. I think that a lot of these fights have to play out in that division. From 9 all the way up to number 1. I mean, they're incredible fights. You can mix or match them any way you want, and they're really good fights. And let some of these play out to see who will fight next for the title. And I think that if Khabib is interested, he'll take the fight. You don't hear Khabib saying, "Leave me alone, stop asking me." So there's still a chance. That's the way I look at it.
Israel Adesanya is seeking to add another world title to his collection this weekend, and he's looking for some style points along the way. Adesanya will look to become the UFC's latest double champ this weekend when he attempts to take the 205-pound belt from around the waist of Polish powerhouse Jan Blachowicz. However, despite the size disparity the UFC's middleweight champion will have coming into the contest, Adesanya says that he will handily avoid the same types of finishes which Blachowicz doled out to the likes of Dominic Reyes and Luke Rockhold. Adesanya. I'm not getting touched this fight, that's my plan. Not getting touched like I did in the Costa fight. Adesanya said exclusively to Themak Life. I didn't get touched in the Costa, but like I did in the Costa fight, because I didn't let him touch me in the face at all. Make sure I don't get hit and watch out for the body kick. So far in his UFC tenure, Adesanya has mostly avoided the type of all-out wars, which are favored by the Pole who packs tremendous power in his left hook. He was mostly untouched in, frankly uneventful, title defenses against Yoel Romero and Paulo Costa, but the one and only time that Adesanya found himself in any real trouble came against Kelvin Gastelum, who pushed forward relentless for the majority of the 25 minutes. Blachowicz will look to generate a similar type of chaos this weekend against Adesanya, and if he does, we may have another Fight of the Year contender on our hands. 2 of the UFC's most experienced fighters will be looking for pastures new. It was announced some months ago that a wave of cuts were expected to be forthcoming for the UFC roster, with Dana White stating that some fans may be surprised by the names of some of the fighters being let go. Late Wednesday it was confirmed that 2 of those names are Junior Dos Santos and Alistair Overeem, fighters who have a combined 97 professional fights and rose to the top, or at least near the top, of the heavyweight rankings at points during their extended tenures with the organization. Overeem, 40, leaves the UFC after losing by second-round knockout to Alexander Volkov in his last outing, a loss which stopped a 2-fight win streak after finishes of Augusto Sakai and Walt Harris in his prior 2 fights. Former world heavyweight champion Dos Santos, 37, bounces out of the UFC on the back of 4 straight defeats, all of which were finishes before the end of the second round. Most recently, he was beaten by second-round TKO by highly rated French heavyweight Cyril Gane in December. Both Overeem and Dos Santos faced each other in the UFC way back in December 2015 in a fight won by the Dutchman by second-round TKO. Dos Santos' UFC tenure will be best remembered for handing Cain Velasquez the first loss of his professional career with a stunning first-round finish on the UFC's debut Fox card a decade ago, while Overeem's standout moment was inevitably his early finish of Brock Lesnar in what was Overeem's UFC debut also in 2011. Alexander Gustafsson explains why former opponent Jan Blachowicz will defeat Israel Adesanya this Saturday night in the main event of UFC 259. Gustafsson fought Blachowicz at UFC Hamburg in September 2016, with Gustafsson taking home a unanimous decision win, so he's the right guy to ask for a prediction on this particular title fight. Just like Adesanya, Gustafsson is a long and rangy striker who has had plenty of success inside the octagon, so some have pointed to that fight as a potential blueprint for how Adesanya vs Blachowicz could play out. Speaking to Frontkick Online, Gustafsson predicted that Blachowicz will successfully defend the UFC lightweight title, and he explained exactly why he thinks so. It's a good fight. I think Blachowicz is going to win that fight because he's a big guy and he's very tricky. He has weird boxing. He likes to counter a lot, and he also has a really good ground game. And he's a bigger guy. So that's why I think, if he uses those tools he's going to win the fight, Gustafsson said. I fought Blachowicz many years ago, and I think he's developed as a fighter. I see him now, he's very dangerous. I think he learned his lesson, and he's back. He knocked out Dominic Reyes and he came back, and people counted him out, and he comes back and proved people wrong. It's going to be a very interesting fight with Adesanya. Let's see what happens. I think Blachowicz is going to win that fight. Gustafsson has not competed since a submission loss to Fabricio Werdum last summer on Fight Island in his heavyweight debut. Gustafsson said he is now back in training and is doing between 6 and 8 sessions a week. He doesn't have a fight lined up and hasn't started sparring yet, but said he would step up his training to a higher intensity if booked for a fight. As for a rematch with Blachowicz, Gustafsson would do it, but only at 205 pounds. If I would fight Blachowicz again, I think it would probably be at light heavyweight, Gustafsson said. Do you agree with Alexander Gustafsson that Jan Blachowicz will beat Israel Adesanya at UFC 259? Conor McGregor has been known for a few things over the past few years: fighting, talking, and whiskey. When he showed up to the UFC 229 press conference in New York City, he flaunted his Proper 12 whiskey. He brought out a bottle and shared a cup with President Dana White. He proudly announced that the whiskey would be a sponsor of the fight and would be in the canvas, where he would later tap of while Khabib Nurmagomedov squeezed his neck. The whiskey has become a huge part of McGregor's persona over the past few years. He can be seen promoting the drink more than he can be seen promoting his fights these days, but perhaps those days are over. Per a press release, via MMA Mania, the beverage company Beagle has bought out McGregor as the majority owner of Proper 12. Beagle is most known for its Jose Cuervo tequila, but now holds 100% of the airborne spirits company founded by McGregor. Beagle was given 20% of the Proper 12 company and helped to get in growing in its infancy. Following that, 49% and now increasing to 51%. With McGregor being such a huge part of the brand, it is a possibility that he will be staying on as a promoter or a face of the brand. McGregor has claimed that the recipe for the whiskey itself was a family tradition. Now that he has fewer obligations over at Proper 12, that could be a way to transition back into fighting more. McGregor has mentioned wanting to fight 3 times in 2021. The first time had taken place earlier this year when he lost to Dustin Poirier. Talks of a rematch are already in effect and the bout could be set for this summer. Both sides have seemed to agree already. In addition to fighting, McGregor still has plenty of other businesses that he is involved with, from clothing to exercise programs.